Om Shanti. So thank you very much. So I'm sure it's getting more and more clear to everyone that what we are doing. And now let's do our Vyakti journey. Welcome to our Vyakti journey. So Mohini Didi, the living light, exploring together the beauty and brilliance of the truth. So for that, I would like to invite our angel, Sister Wadi. Welcome.
Thank you so very much, Lily Ben. Oops. Thank you so much. This just keeps getting deeper and deeper, doesn't it? We're now really in very, very advanced classes, and what it is that we have to become, and so many, not only the points that have been given already, the homework, and now Brother Dev is going to share a little story, and we're going to explore with Sister Mohini some of the depth of that. And as mentioned last week, I doubt very much that she will remember the situation. We're not taking the person's name, but she may certainly have some answers regarding how she gave the advice that she did. So over to you, Dev. Hello.
Om Shanti, Sister Wadi.
Om Shanti, brother.
Happy Friday. Story time again.
Yeah.
So today, Didi already mentioned something very, like this is about attitude that is, I think, related to the story that I'm going to share today. It's a short story from one of the sisters. And so I'm going to go ahead and share it. One day, my stage was not good. And because of that, my behavior was not right. End of the day, I felt why I did this. So I called Mohini Didi and I shared with her saying, I made this mistake today. Immediately, she stopped me and said, never say I made a mistake, but say I had a good realization that what I did was not right. I felt so good after listening to that, and that feeling of guilt vanished. I also felt during that time, she gives special sakash to overcome situations. I started making an effort again with a different attitude. So what I learned from her was check, change, and move forward. Om Shanti.
Perhaps one of the things that Sister Mohini was saying earlier on, how in these situations, interactions, to give a virtue. And so that was evidently what the sister experienced when she said that she felt there was sakash there too. This very subtle, powerful energy. And I really would like to understand the mechanics of it. And I think it will come up in some of the other stories that we have. But for now, inviting Sister Mohini to join us. And thank you so much. Good to see you, Sister Mohini. Yeah. I think it was yesterday or maybe the day before you had referenced that how we can either be under the influence of the external atmosphere or that we're being compelled or controlled by our own sanskars. And so I don't know in that particular situation whether it was the externals or it was something internal. Can we distinguish when it's external and when it's internal? And in what way might that help us?
Om Shanti, everyone. But just, I go back a little bit on this answer I gave to that sister, because the way I take care of myself or sustain myself, because I never believed that you have to carry mistakes with you or guilt, because I never in my life did it, because I always gave to Baba and I said, I will move forward, because to take that heaviness of I did this, I shouldn't have. Baba, I always shared no story that Baba used to say, you make a mistake, you realize it, and you tell Baba, and then say drama, and it's bent, move forward. And that's what I learned when Baba used to talk to once Didi Mohini, few situations. They were little things, but still they felt very sorry. And Baba said, no, yes, you realize now is drama, just move forward. Because that's what I said, I realized today, it's so interesting, more we do homework, more deeper we go. I realized today that attitude is like a deposit box,
Mm-hmm.
everything gets deposited there and then it keep emerging in our cemetery. But if we don't let that deposit and immediately just say, okay, I told Baba and now it's drama, move forward. That means it's not you keep repeating it, but you don't have to get stuck with that. So that's how I learned. Yeah.
Yeah, I like how what you gave to the sister was by changing the language, that instantly she was relieved. And I this is a theme that you seem to have, to change the way of seeing things, transform, and that in that there's a change. But say, for example, I'm the one who has made the mistake and I did something that wasn't nice to somebody else. Well, can I, they won't hear it if I go and I say, well, I had a realization, maybe they would rather hear, sorry, this was my mistake. And so one thing is you relieved her burden, but in relation to maybe the person that, assuming she had offended somebody else, then how do you deal with what they're carrying? Will the language, just the language, make a difference? Or do, as Baba said, just forget it and don't say anything? Should I apologize?
I think that basically whatever from our heart with love, with good vibrations, even while listening, not get like, how can she do this? Like we get a lot of these strong thoughts. But why should I? It's like I am allowing to be affected by that, right? So who is losing even? I mean, I'm helping someone and I'm losing, right? So I always feel that you have to see what also helps you, in the sense of way you think, way you say, way you interact. So I'm very attentive on that anything good I'm doing and harming my own self, in the sense of the way I said it. Or so I think that the vibrations and our loveful feelings for each one, I think that definitely is very, very helpful. But your question about, see, external influence of external is visible. Yeah, you heard something, some news, some, very visible. But internal from sanskar is not visible, but it's felt. Yeah, you could feel it now that your mental energy is wavering, you're not feeling so happy, you're not very peaceful. Now this is coming from sanskar. And sanskars are just past karmas. And past karmas means settling is happening.
Yeah.
So there are souls who will always, sometimes I don't have much experience, but say things for you or like, so if I remember, I have souls, like I have lived, and in the beginning there will be a lot of conflict, and then because settling happens. But if we leave relationships, then settling doesn't happen. Somewhere deeply it's in my mind that I couldn't deal with it. I was not maybe very kind with that soul. It's like undone kind of relationship. So it's always good to stay on in wherever we are with people, whatever they are.
Yeah, that's
And
interesting.
internally you use knowledge, yoga, virtues, and settling happens. And a very beautiful relationship of love, respect emerges.
I
Because
like that. Yeah.
yeah, ultimately in gold, we are not only settling, right? At confluence age, we all are going to go to golden age. And then we say we will be together for 84 births.
Right.
So you have to, accept, like some people say, oh, you tolerating this one for so many years, we wouldn't. I said, what you will do? Everyone is different. Everyone is playing their part. And our good wishes, our generosity, our kindness, not seeing what they're doing. I always say, I have to see what I have to do with them. And it's very interesting that, it's a kind of deeply charity from heart, that not
No,
seeing what somebody said, this also talk so negative for you. It doesn't bother me because I still have good features. I want to
mm,
maintain my good feelings. So say, many those stay with me say, but they say so much for you. What about? So I will do what I am, right? I I
I
won't
know.
respond to what they are. Why should I lose my own moral, my own values? Why should I lose my own principles? No?
Now, how I'm quite sure that you would be vastly different in this compared with the little story that the sister told, and maybe for the rest of us. But she said it took her to the end of the day, I think, to realize that she'd made a mistake. This was her mistake or whatever. How can we speed up this process? Does something instantly tell me what I did wasn't right? Or sometimes I justify it or say they deserved it, or I try to, you know, make it smaller than it is. So how do we refine this process and speed up the process of realization rather than waiting till the end of the day, and that we can change quickly?
I feel that if I want to improve myself, self progress, I have to move forward, then it will be instant in the sense of I will immediately not see I did because you said, because, we waste a lot of time into blaming others for my
Mhm.
reactions.
Right,
But if I
right.
immediately say it's my reaction, whatever others did is their action. So my reaction is wrong. Even if I say because that one's action was wrong, my reaction was wrong, but I am responsible for my reaction, right? Or my response to anyone. And if that is in mind, you will just say, I have to correct myself. You will never say because of this one, because of that one. And majority of people always raise finger in the mind or maybe with the head, but not me. I
Yeah.
always say that this has came to me. It's my what should be, what way I should respond is my responsibility, not blaming anyone for, oh, I did it. Like they say here, like someone pressed my button, so what to do? I reacted, but you reacted, so it's my own account. No, no, Baba
And
sometimes say, if you are aware of your own karmic accounts, you will not behave same way as other person is, so never,
mhm.
but rather you will try to, that is where my sakash or good feelings are, that I contribute that value which that person is lacking. And I think internally, when you love yourself, you want to move forward. And I think that immediate transformation do happen, realization and then also transformation.
Can guilt ever be beneficial? And what do you see? Do you sometimes see that some have the tendency to blame themselves, to accept blame, to always be in a state of feeling guilty about things that they really shouldn't be feeling guilty about, or carrying, as you had mentioned earlier, something, from the past that then pops up somewhere.
I
What
think
to
it's
do about guilt?
lack of realization and lack of power of transformation. If
Okay.
there is realization, you will instantly know that it's not only that one's mistake, it's also mine. That means you won't hold the guilt. If there is realization, you will hold that. Like someone was asking me certain things about yagya. So I said, I don't really a historical person to remember what time, what date, but what I remember is what my experience was, what my feelings are, what my learning is. For me, you just learn at every step in the life, and that learning helps me in future. So change that guilt into realization, and then also have this pure feeling really means learn. You learn every moment and keep moving forward. Then you are not
Great.
stuck because of your own mistake or someone else's mistake. And I even don't blame myself for anything, but it doesn't mean I don't take share of responsibility in whatever situation is created. Oh, maybe I should have remained silent. Maybe I shouldn't have said two words. I immediately do that. That means if there is something, then okay, what I could have been better. Instead of thinking this one did, that one did, that's a very ordinary way to interact amongst ourselves. So it's a family, and we will be together for 84 births. So do it in
Yes.
a way that there are good feelings, good memory. That's what I cherish in my life of Brahman, confluences.
Okay. So yeah, because sometimes, when somebody has the nature of feeling guilty, somehow they will then attract punishment as well. They'll find someone to punish them in some way or another, not necessarily physically speaking, but in some way that is what they can attract. And I don't know, sometimes there can even be a little bit of an addiction to that, to being punished.
I think that
Um,
also it comes from the religious belief, because in some religions, I
yes.
know when I came here, there were one person came, a very nice person, and said, I'm punishing myself for 1 week because I did something like that so that God can. So I said, you don't have to do that.
Yes.
I explained, but this is what he had read in his scripture,
Yes.
that to save yourself from the final punishment, you punish yourself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
That
think there are
definitely.
certain backgrounds and beliefs, and so a lot of practices, a lot of people do things are based on those beliefs also.
Yeah.
So
So again, just appreciation of how easy it was for that sister, and evidently she must have a close relationship with you, that she was able to call you, and that immediately your languaging and your sakash changed everything. So just like you were saying earlier about give a virtue in all those situations, to give a virtue as well. Are you consciously doing that, or is just that now, because I've read so many stories, and that constitutes a part of nearly every story, where they felt some power from you to change themselves, and that's what I'm interested in getting at. Or maybe this month now with the cities and everything will bring us there.
I-
But are you aware of your own power?
no, it's power or nature, whatever. But let's see, why I am here is to help souls, right?
Okay.
to serve souls, not to find out their weaknesses or mistakes
Okay.
or their sanskars, because why should I know? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, sometimes it might be happening, but basically why I am here is to help souls. Now we sit and want to do Mansa Seva, but I think you can do Mansa Seva a whole day,
Mm-hmm.
because as soon as you notice some, because my interest is that yagya is sustained, everyone grows beautifully and become good instruments, good children of Baba. So what I have to share with them, and also when as soon as some argument happen and situation is going little bit out of I don't like it, and I immediately will say a good thing or talk about a virtue, somewhere, so that it doesn't go where
Mm-hmm.
it really becomes like a proper conflict or anything, because really there is nothing but this clash of sanskars. No? One time Dadi Gulzar said nicely that how Maya comes. Maya comes in you, then Maya comes in me. Then Maya is through any Brahmin, no? So I don't want Maya in the sense of, so I don't notice whatever is anyone's sanskar. I have to be attentive on myself.
And yourself.
I am responsible for my own thoughts perception. Otherwise, I see for years people are in Gyan. And when I look at their stage and I say what they had been doing for so many years, because I think there was this not taking your own responsibility and always thinking because of situation, because of person, because of this. Like Baba said, you can't look at the causes or reasons. But so if I, if I am here, came to Baba to make efforts to become perfect, but that should be the mind all the time. And I like, everyone to be loveful, have patience, everything, because as I said, I believe that this has to be kingdom of God, and then we will see in golden age what else. So yeah, I think we have to do that, everyone, and then everything will be so easy. Not easy, but we can do much more. Sometimes for little thing, power is lost, and then
Yes.
soul can't do
Yes.
much.
Yeah. Brother Dev, do you want to pray? Say you want to share a last word? Something maybe we didn't touch on.
No, I really love this conversation because, we really are able to get the how we can be that. One line I think says all is that when you love yourself, then you move forward. Transformation happens very quickly. And also I like that you also see what helps you. It's not about just going and helping somebody else. Like if you help yourself, if you love yourself, then you don't carry the guilt. So that's, I think, the message today. So thank you, Didi.
Very nice. Thank you, Dev Bhai, for summing up. Thank you so much, Sister
Sometimes
Mohini.
it's little bit difficulties when someone says about other person and I don't acknowledge, or acknowledge and then I don't say it. Why don't you say to this one that I said no? Because they have their karmic accounts. Why
That's
should I
right.
get into that?
Right.
And so we have to be little bit careful. It's not that we are all the time perfect, but that's the goal. Many times, like husband, wife, they have any situation, they come to me. I don't get ever into that because they have so much attachment, and then they fight, then they have attachment. So why should I, get into that? Even in Brahmin family, there are certain situations where people have lot of intimacy, and then they have also fight. I always tell, we don't get into that. Let them settle their own karmic accounts. We remain detached, loveful, and when they are ready, we will help them. So never, like wife will come, he does that, can you tell him? Or I never go back and say, because one thing is that they will say, oh, you complain about me. So relationship spoils. Anytime you tell anyone, they will say, who told you? So now that's where animosity is beginning, that, oh, you went and complained to Sister Mohini. So how to keep matters where they have to settle, they have to settle. But I shouldn't get into that, you know.
This is going back to the story from last week, where it
Mm.
was somebody being given two different bits of advice from two different instruments. And so what I recollect was how you upheld the dignity or the respect of all three of them. You didn't take sides, you know, you give all of them respect. You didn't point the finger at one or find out who's making the mistake or who did this.
Mm.
I think that's that, and you were touching on this somewhere this evening about like the neutrality, about being neutral. It's a very nice stage. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Nice.
Thank you.
Nice,
Om
nice
Shanti.
chat. Friday night chat.
Yeah.
Okay, Om Shanti. Thank you,
Om
both.
Shanti.
Om.
Thank you.